Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of the Flop Podcast. My name is Zach,
And I'm Rob.
and we are a father and son that love the sport of cornhole. And we're just going to talk everything cornhole, kind of how we got started. Let's get into it. Dad, how you doing?
Good, man.
So, what was your first exposure to cornhole?
First exposure I had was just at family gatherings. Actually, my wife's father had some homemade boards, just regular like press board tops and duck cloth, cornfield bags. And he would bring them to our family vacations that we do. And of course, you were very small then, but
Yep, this is a shared experience. This
Yeah.
is my dad. So,
Right.
yeah, all of these are...
So we would, we'd play for the entire week. We'd be on vacation, and then started playing at my mother's house when we would go visit in the summertime there. My brother and I, and just would play once to twice a year. Really was all it amounted to.
Yep.
But we always had the best time. We always had so much fun playing, and it was definitely something that I don't understand why it took me so long to decide to get more serious about it and to try to pursue it even just more often just for fun.
Yeah.
Because I had such a good time playing it whenever we were, when we would be around the boards and stuff like that. And so it finally clicked to me, I guess about 2 years ago now. I was like, why am I not spending more time playing this game? And my father-in-law made me a set of homemade boards for Christmas one year, and I played at home the same way we played at vacation, which was press board tops,
Amazing.
painted. Yeah.
End over end.
Yeah.
We would pray to God that it would just stay on the board. If we threw it on the board, we're like, if you throw every bag on the board, then
You're good.
you're good. Like,
Yeah. And we would, but I would play, and I had a flip throw where I just flipped it,
Yep.
end over end, and it worked pretty well for me. So I thought, and it grew from there. So I once I had my boards at home and I would practice with them more, I decided it was time to take the next step, and that's when I started, looking around on Facebook, trying to find local blind draws in my area so that I could go and start to really get better. And that's when I, looking around on Facebook is when I discovered that people weren't really playing with cornfield bags. And
No.
my brother bought us a set of ACO 450
Oh, they're amazing.
suede bags. So they had the suede side on one side and then their fast side on the other.
We were like, look at this. Like these are the pro bags. Like they have like a slow side and a fast side.
Yeah.
And like we just thought that was so cool.
They're stick and slick bags.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to be fancy about
These are
it.
legit.
Ooh, and people would be like, ooh, wow.
Yeah.
So
We're really serious.
Yeah, exactly. And when we threw those, and I realized very quickly that with a traditional slick and stick bag, you couldn't really throw the end over end throw that I was doing because
Nope.
I had no control on whether it would land on the fast side, whether it would land on the slow side.
So it's stopping
It
or
was stopping or
sliding off.
or going.
Yeah.
Exactly. And of course, I had the ripples in my press board tops to help slow me down.
Fantastic.
But once I got my first set of like real professional bags, which were I bought some all cornhole Reaper slide rights.
Oh yeah.
So still sticking with the
Probably not any better.
Probably,
Yeah.
probably sticking exactly. Not really. Maybe a better fast side for sure, but
Definitely.
still traditional suede. And I go to my blind draw, and I'm proud as I can be rolling up with these. And one of the first bags I was introduced to at the blind draw was a Viper, and I was like, "This is way different."
Yeah, the quality is just insane.
Yeah.
Like it's so
Well,
much better.
it is, and it was just I was not keeping them on the board at all because
How could you?
I was throwing with a buddy who he wasn't a buddy at the time. Obviously, he was just a nice guy at the blind draw who was kind enough to kind of show me a few things here and there. So I was throwing his Vipers, and it was insane. I was like, wow. So the next set of bags I got wasn't Vipers, but they were Cooper Scorpions.
Okay.
Which was basically a game changer material on one side and then a fast side of a slide right on the other side.
Okay.
So it was still a very quick bag, but I had kind of zoned in a little bit more on how to throw. I'd practiced throwing a flat bag and wasn't quite there yet, but I was doing better, and so just kept going about that route. And then I was able to get my very first set of Vipers a few months later, and For those of you who know me, you know I have quite a few sets of Vipers now.
I call him the Pablo Escobar of bags. He is the bag man. Like at everything we do, he's the guy to go to for bags. So it's just funny to hear his journey from like buying slide rights into moving into having all kinds of awesome bags.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And so I don't have any of my Vipers out right now, but I mean, I have
quite a few.
I got a few Vipers, a few things that I keep in my collection.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's grown exponentially. I fell in love with the sport. I fell in love with the people in the community.
Yes.
I didn't really have like a thing, locally that I felt like I was a part of. Mm-hmm. And then I started going to these blind draws, and people were so nice and welcoming, and they just embraced me in, and I was no good. I mean, so it's not one of those deals where you show up and you're a stud, and so everybody's like, oh yeah, and embrace you. Like I had to meet people and learn, and everyone was so cool that I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And so it started my journey of really trying to grow and get better. Learning the intricacies and the techniques that I needed to be a good player, and I'm still struggling to do that, and I know that that's one of the things you and I talk about a lot, and it is a big reason why we're sitting here today.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I had the exact same experience when I started going to blind draws. I knew about cornhole through you. We used to go to the river on vacation and throw bags, and I would come home every once in a while. I live out of state, and you were progressing so much, and it was kind of an eye-opening experience for me as well. I saw all these different types of bags. I saw people throwing flat bags, and I was just like, this is crazy. This is different. And
right.
And so I got really excited to get into it too. And of course, I was absolutely terrible. And but the people are what make the sport. I mean, and it's so valuable to come into something where you are at the absolute bottom of the totem pole, but everyone still treats you the same.
Right.
And so it was really, really cool. The community was a huge draw for me.
Absolutely.
As well. Absolutely.
And it's funny because you being in North Carolina, me being in the Memphis area, it's still the same. You show up and everybody's just like so welcoming and so kind. And sure, there are outliers and there are people that you're just like, screw that guy. But it's such an outlier. Everybody is so nice and welcoming in this community, and it's something that I'm really, really fond of.
Yeah,
and really excited to be a part of.
Exactly, me too. So you've been playing for
2 years.
2 years now?
Really, really serious. I say seriously for 2 years. Like actually putting in practice and going to events and things like that for 2 years.
That's awesome. That's cool. So, yeah. I've probably been playing, I think a little under a year. Something like that, just the same thing, just kind of competitive and or trying to be competitive, of course.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
you
right.
talk about the divisions. I'm definitely playing an intermediate, but So we've been playing for a while, and it's a sport that we love. And so let's kind of talk about how we transition from going to blind draws to this is something that we really want to commit our lives to, and something that we really love and enjoy, and we want to compete on a high level, and also we had this idea for this podcast. So let's kind of talk about how the podcast came to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you being out of state.
Yep.
So, we communicate on the phone. And so what we would do is we each go to our respective blind draws, and then we'd have a debrief.
The debrief.
Yes. So we would talk about our successes and our failures of our nights. Mostly failures.
One of my favorite quotes. If someone's better than you at something, they've probably failed at it more than you.
And
amazing.
I can only hope and pray that that's true, because as much as I fail, I need to know people who fail more.
Exactly.
So it's the only thing that gives me hope. But so we call each other and have our conversations about the blind draws and the players that we experienced at the blind draws and who we got to play with and against, and what made them better. What was it that made this person better? Was it the bag that they were throwing? Was it the throw that itself, their technique, their hand grip, their release motions, things like this? Did they step? Did they stay in one place? Did they have the right foot forward? Did they have their left foot forward? And we were breaking all of this down on these conversations and talking about it, as well as talking about our inconsistencies. And, I had, a lot of good rounds, and then we lost because I gave up a 7,
Yep.
and you just want to die. But
You do.
it's part of it, though. It's part of the game. It's part of the experience of learning and growing. And so these are the things we would talk about. And it seemed like we're not the only people that experience this.
No, definitely not.
Everyone has this kind of takeaway from their blind draw. I doubt very seriously that even the best players leave their blind draws and think, I was perfect.
Yeah. No.
I did everything I could do.
Yep.
And then some. And I mean, I'm talking even if you win. Like you win and you go, they're going to think about, the pro is probably thinking about the one round where they gave up 4 points.
Yep.
Exactly. And they may have hit every other bag they've thrown.
For sure.
But, for us, we're not that level yet. And we do strive to be. And that is one
100%.
thing. We sit here wanting to be great. And so we talked about that as well. Like, what does that mean to be great? And what does it take to be great? And so one of the things that, in our conversations and our debriefs, we would journey into these psychological discussions.
Avenues,
and talk about, the mindset. And, Zach does a lot of reading. He reads a lot of inspirational books and motivational books and things like that. And so he would share, quotes and insights from, famous athletes like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, like their mindset that they would get into before they would go into an important game. And it's like, regardless if you're going into Game 7 of the NBA Finals, or you're going to your local blind draw, you want to have that hunger. You want to show up, and you want to have that same drive and that same tenacity going in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Regardless of what you're doing.
Absolutely. Because I kind of realized I saw how competitive the sport was getting, and we noticed that, and then we realized, this isn't just a game anymore. Like, there are people competing at an extremely high level, and they have an extremely high level of focus and determination, and they're managing a crazy amount of pressure. I mean, if you've ever felt the feeling of, all right, man, just throw it on the board and we win, then
Hardest shot in cornhole.
Yeah, hardest shot in cornhole, 100%. It's like, if you've ever felt that feeling, you know that this is not just a backyard game. It's a serious war in your mind to keep it focused for that long, especially when you're playing that many games and stuff. So we realized that the people that are doing this at the highest level are absolutely incredible. And so we want to analyze how they do it and what they do, and see if we can implement that in our own lives to be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah. And by doing this podcast, we're hoping that some of you out there feel the exact same way that we do. We're hoping that some of you out there go home after your blind draw experiences and have these same conversations that we're having. And so throughout our conversations, that was one of the things that we kind of settled on. It's like, surely we're not the only ones that feel this way. Surely we're not the only ones who are trying to figure things out. We're not the only ones who are trying to be great at this sport. And so we're hoping that this journey that we're starting right now, and we're hoping that you'll come along with us, is going to help you be a better player.
100%.
And I think a lot of times you're looking for a more average player's perspective, because it's super easy to sit down with Matt Guy or Jamie Graham and say, why are you great? And they say, I practice a lot, and I am so great now.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we know that it's thousands upon thousands of hours and thousands upon thousands of bags that make them great. But, it's a different mindset when you're a player who's trying to come up. You're trying to figure things out. You're trying to get that elusive consistency that we all struggle with. Everybody watching this video right now or listening to the sound of my voice has hit a 4-bagger and thought, I'm only going to do that the next round, and I'm only going to do that the next round.
Yeah.
And then you front board, and then you throw off the back, and then all of a sudden you threw a 4. So you hit a 12, and then the very next round you hit a 4.
Exactly.
And so it just can be so discouraging. Consistency is absolutely the key, and that is the key to everything.
Absolutely.
So how do we find it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what our journey is going to be about on this show. We're going to talk about, we're going to talk about everything. You know, we're going to talk about bags.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about mentality. How do you walk into the blind draw? You know, what's your mentality?
Yep.
You know, am I standing next to this person thinking, okay, this guy's really good. I'm not quite there yet. Blah blah blah. It's like, boom, you've already lost that game.
Right.
It's over.
And yeah, one of the things that I've noticed is, when you watch a lot of things on Facebook, like I do, I watch a lot of matches, find a lot of good content. I feel like just from watching live cornhole matches on Facebook, you see the comments section, and you'll see some random dude in the comment section.
Can't believe this is a sport, man.
Can't believe this is a sport.
It's not a sport.
It's not a sport. Hey, and then they'll tag their buddy. Hey, Rico, let's go up here and make some money. We could beat these fools.
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
No, man, you can't. Like, I'm not great. You couldn't even score a point against me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm
crazy.
not great.
No, seriously, yeah. It's like, if you think you can just walk into this sport and do well, it's like, you have no idea how many people are trying desperately every day to get to the next level.
Right.
Because if it's like, those people aren't getting it, like, you're not walking in and making noise.
Yeah, I'm sitting here at my desk watching these pros thinking, how am I going to get to this level? I'm already practicing multiple times a week.
Yep,
I'm already going to blind draws. I'm going to regionals. I'm going to majors if I can find one. And I couldn't score a point,
Exactly.
And so it's like, how is this dude in the comments talking about they're just playing beanbag toss? It's not really a serious, sport or serious competition at all. And it's just, it couldn't be more wrong.
Yep.
I mean, it's like saying, all you're doing is throwing a ball at a hoop.
Exactly. It's
show
grossly
up and go
oversimplifying.
show. I know, it's grossly oversimplifying.
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking about a 1 pound bag that is being forward projectiled to a 6-inch hole that's 30 feet away.
Yep.
Right? I mean, it's just not as simple as you would think it would be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation and we'd all be great.
Correct. Yeah, there would be no... Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's like, how much time do you want me to give you to practice and to where you think that you could beat Matt Guy in a game of cornhole? Do you want 2 years?
Yeah.
Do you want 4 years
of consistent
You could
play
practice every day for 4 years. Yeah, and you're not getting it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he has been practicing and he's been playing for so long, and all these guys that are doing this well and competing at this level have been playing for so long, and they've developed a maturity in the sport that, like, we can't comprehend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, yeah, there are always going to be outliers. There's always going to be that one dude who just can dribble with both hands and can, cross over either side and hit threes all day long. I mean, it happens.
It does.
There's always going to be that phenom, that Alex Hicks out there, who can just, I mean, it's insane at 12 years old how well he plays this game. I mean, to beat Matt Guy and in a match that goes 50-something rounds and 30-something 4-baggers. I haven't hit 30 4-baggers this month.
Nope.
Much less worrying about, in a single game.
Oh, that was so cool.
And so, there are outliers and there are prodigies and there are people who take to it really quickly.
Yep.
I'm not one of those people.
No, and most people aren't.
And that's for 2 years and practicing and really putting in effort. So it insults me when I see people in the comments talking about how ridiculous beanbag toss is, or I see a YouTube comment like, I cannot believe this is on TV. This is so ridiculous. I'm like, you're the same person who probably watches the Summer Olympics or the Winter Olympics every 4 years. I mean, there are things in that, like ping pong is on the Olympics. Yeah. I'm not pretending that's not difficult, because it's insanely difficult.
Yes.
But it's especially insanely difficult to play at the level that those players are playing at.
Exactly.
So to just dismiss it because it's a backyard game, or dismiss it because it's just a simple, it's just this or it's just that, is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, the sport is transforming, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And what I like to say is, it's ridiculous until it's not anymore.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
When guys are going to these tournaments and winning whatever it is, $40,000, $50,000, it's like, that seems like a backyard game. Like, No.
Right.
It's something completely different.
And you know what else is a backyard game?
What?
Football is a backyard game.
Correct.
Baseball is a backyard game.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all games that you played in your neighborhoods growing up.
Yep.
Basketball, you've all played it. We've all played soccer. We've all played kickball. We've all played all of these things. And to just dismiss it because maybe they don't look like standard professional peak performing athletes, to dismiss it as just being a ridiculous child's game is just insulting, and it's just silly. I mean, frankly.
Exactly. And I think that these kind of rumors or myths are going to be dispelled as the sport grows, and that's kind of why we're doing this podcast is we want to grow the sport, and we want people to realize like how fun it is, how great the community is, and then also how hard it is to be good.
It's very hard to be good.
It's very hard to be good. I mean, if you don't believe me, go to your local blind draw and find out.
Go to your local blind draw, backyard champion. Go to your local blind draw. And when you have to play on 27 feet apart boards instead of the 20 feet that you've normally been throwing at your uncle's house, and then you have to realize that, oh, wait a minute, you don't have to go to 21. You can actually go over. There's no bust rule.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we started at these events when we were talking about going to family things with bust rule. And, you know, we would argue at the time, my brother and I, that bust rule was more difficult because
you have to get exactly
21 exactly. But you know, when you really think about it, it's like it is ridiculous to play bust rule, but it's also difficult to take people who've been playing bust rule and to try to explain to them why it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but,
which is pretty simple. Yeah. It's who's the best at scoring points in this game.
Exactly.
And that's what, you know, going to a game to 21 or over shows. It's like, it's because it's every single round who is the best at scoring points.
Exactly. So I digress a little bit with the bust rule, but seriously though, you think it's so easy, go to your blind draw.
Yeah.
Go to your local blind draw. And then the first thing you say is, my God, these boards are really far apart.
Yep. These boards are slick.
And these bags, man, wow. I can't even keep them on. It's because you have no technique. You have no actual skill yet at this game.
And that's fine.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Everyone starts there.
Yep.
Everyone starts with zero ability. And that's the great thing about this sport, to be honest, is that you can have a kid who's 12 years old who beats Matt Guy.
Yep.
Anyone can play, and anyone can win.
That's right.
I mean, it definitely, I think that is a very broad statement, but I do believe that it's generally true.
Yep.
You know, on any given day, you know, I go to blind draws with pros. You've been to blind draws with pros.
Yep.
They have off nights just like everybody else.
That's true.
And they get beat on those nights.
Yep.
You know?
Because you can only throw 4 bags in the hole around. You know?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what's crazy about this game.
Exactly.
And and I think that for those of you listening and you know, I think probably the greatest thing you could do as you're getting in this sport is be humble. Like humility is the vehicle to success in this sport. You show up, you're gonna be terrible. Everyone's gonna be better than you. Don't get discouraged. Just humble yourself and watch, and just watch
and
people
absorb.
Yes, watch and absorb, because you're gonna see people do things that you just can't even believe. I mean, I can't imagine. I remember the first time I was playing someone that rolled bags over my block on purpose 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. I mean, yeah.
Same deal with that on purpose airmail. When you throw this bag and you're like, yes, block, and they just go straight over it with no hesitation.
Yep. And you're in your mind, you're like, look,
and
this guy's not about to do this again.
And then he does it again.
Yeah.
And it's just it can be shattering to your little self-image when you first start showing up. But you know, for me, when I play against these people, and you know, I know specifically there are a few in my area that, you know, I used to be so intimidated playing them because it would just be, I'm not going to win. I'm not even going to, but you know, I've gotten to be actually pretty close with a lot of these players, and you know, I'm more comfortable now when I play against them, and at some points I even get a little excited to play against them because, you know, I know ultimately if the game goes on long enough, and if it was just us two, I can play out of my mind,
Yep.
but I'm coming back down to earth at some point.
Yeah.
And they're not.
That's right.
And it's the consistency that we talk about. And so, but still, I've gotten to a point now where it's like, it's exciting because I'm like, I don't know that the mentality, my mindset is I'm going to beat them.
Sure.
But my mindset is they are not going to kill me.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're going to know I'm there, and that's what I look forward to.
Yep.
And sometimes I'm not there. And sometimes I think that, and I go in with that mentality, and I'm like, they're going to know I'm there. And they just absolutely destroy me.
Mm-hmm.
But there are games that I've played really well, scored rounds, and just been in it, and it's so uplifting.
It's amazing.
And that's what you keep going for.
Yeah, you go for that progression, you know? Yeah. Everybody's living in their own head when they're playing this game, and it can feel like all eyes are on me, and everybody sees me, and I was really good the past month, but now I'm really slumping. Now I'm throwing really bad, and they know I can throw better, but I just can't get it together, you know? You feel like everyone's looking at you, but it's like everyone's working through their own battle in their mind at this blind draw, and like, I don't know. I think the best players, when you play with just studs at the blind draw, I mean, they're just studs in every single, you know, sense of the word. Like they're the ones that are like, man, you know, when a guy that plays at our blind draw, his name's Kyle Butler. He's awesome. He told me one night, he was like, man, you could throw 20 bags off the board and I'm not going to be upset. And that when he said that to me, I turned it on and we went on a run and we went and we got second and it was amazing.
Yes.
And because it took that pressure off me, because it's like these guys, they understand the journey. They understand what it's like to not be as consistent as they want to be because they're doing it right now. They're not as consistent as they want to be right now.
Right.
And so when he said that to me, pressure off, let's do this. Let's throw bags.
And that is awesome. That is a great mentality, especially for really good players. And I know Kyle's a really good player.
Yep.
So it's, you know, for them to partner with you, and you know, you could show up tonight and you could be darts, you know, but you could show up tonight and you could be trash. You know, it's sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be, you know, the meme. But it's like, it's so comforting when that person on the other end of the board says to you, you don't even think about this.
Yep.
You're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Whatever you do, just have fun, play your game.
Yep.
You know, it does. It just relaxes you, and it takes that pressure just right off. Because I know there are players who don't have the best attitude when they don't win.
Or get a poor partner.
Or they get a poor partner, and then they just turn it off. You know, I've watched great players get a bad draw and then throw like crap the whole night.
Absolutely.
Because they know I'm not going to win.
They solidified it in their mind before, you know, the blind draw even started.
But I'm like, well, why don't you at least, you know, you should play your best. And you should give this person a good time because this person probably doesn't get to win a lot, you know?
Yeah, and it makes their night
to
draw,
their night,
you know, the best player there.
You are the guy.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God, I got so-and-so. And even if, and this is the moment when you as the professional or you as the better player, you help your partner and you take that pressure off and you put the pressure on you because you're the ones used to the pressure.
Exactly.
This person's
You've
already
been here before.
Yeah. This person's sweating bullets.
Yep.
Thinking, oh my God, I don't want to let this person down. But when that pro steps up and says, you're not going to let me down.
Yeah.
We're going to go. Let's go.
Yeah.
It changes the whole dynamic.
It does.
And
You
go
feed
from
off that
freaking
energy.
out and playing tight to being like, my partner actually believes in me to a point.
Yep.
And you throw so much better.
You do.
I've played with pros who have that great attitude in my area, and I've played with them that don't. Mm-hmm. And the ones that don't, you feel it. You really do.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, you tighten up. Every bag you miss, you look at them to see what their reaction is, and usually it's not good, and then that just makes you play worse.
Yep.
So, you know, you've got to be the bigger person, I think, as the better player.
For sure.
In those situations.
Yeah. That's awesome. We're going to talk about absolutely everything, and there's going to be so much that we learn on this journey, and I think that a lot of people are going to be able to take away a lot of great stuff.
I agree. I agree. I'm really excited about it. So, I mean, you know, everything, like you said, we're going to talk about mindset, we're going to talk about bags, we're going to talk about mechanics, we're going to talk about everything related to cornhole, and there's something for you along the way. So if you want to follow us along and you want to be a part of this journey with us, awesome. Please come with us. We're excited.
Yeah, come on, because it's coming. It's gonna be good stuff.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we just want to thank you guys for listening to the very first episode of The Flop, and we hope to see you guys in the future. Keep looking out for more cornhole content.
All right. Thanks, guys.